You didn't decide to be this way, but you've been reinforcing it for years. Now you might be sitting there wondering, Luca, what exactly are you talking about? How did I not decide to be this way? What have I been reinforcing for all these years? And you've been on autopilot. You've been on autopilot. You have been executing patterns and not actually making decisions, because most people don't actually make decisions. They just revert to a subconscious pattern that they've established over the years, and that is how they respond to things. These are the same responses to stress, the same avoidance moves, the same defaults when things are uncomfortable. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Those patterns. And once you actually figure out how to start decision making and break the cyclical pattern of decision making that is perceived as that, then we can actually move toward the shift in the mindset, the shift in the thinking. So, what is autopilot? We'll start there, because I think we have to define the patterns and what the pattern looks like before diving into how we address them and name them and do all that. So, this is not a laziness thing. This is not having the willpower to do something. I think when you're lazy, you know you have to do it, but you just in that moment don't want to do it. Something else is taking over your time. So you're just saying, you know what, you're basically procrastinating. You're just pushing it back. Willpower is you don't think that you're strong enough to do it, or you don't have enough motivation to do it. There's a big barrier you have to go through with willpower. So behavioral patterns that the autopilot is behavioral patterns that were once adaptive, but they have calcified into defaults. I think a lot of this is probably, and I'm not like a psychologist or anything, these are all just my own personal observations. But growing up, you're taught to react a certain way to something. You are taught to do certain things in certain scenarios. Like all of these things, depending on how you were brought up, are then baked into your responses to things. We don't actually get to develop our own reactions because we look to our parents to see how we should react. And I've seen a couple of videos talking about child development, and if a child falls on the ground and they look to their parent and their parent is freaking out, asking, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Like, just really blowing the situation up. That child is going to think and starting to freak out every time they fall down. That's why children cry when they fall down, because if you establish every time a child falls that you have to run over to them, it's a big scene, and they cry because they know it gets the attention of the parent, then that is going to be the default reaction every single time to that thing. If you decide when the child falls that you're going to be calm, you're going to say, "Hey, you good?" You let the child decide, "Am I okay or not?" And then you calmly walk over, you address the situation. So every time that kid falls again, they're going to say, "Okay, let me just check myself out. Am I okay? Do I need help?" And then there's no crying. So it's really about how we're brought up. And this is the brain. This is not like, I'm not going to blame anybody for how we react to things when we're kids, or the way that you were brought up needs to change. I think all those experiences build on and are part of your story, and it's all a part of the developmental arc that we have. So the brain's efficiency engine, by doing this, it's exactly as designed. We just have to point it in another direction. This is why I keep saying direction changes everything, because you could have everything going the right way and you could be working towards all of the correct things, but because you're in the wrong direction, it doesn't actually lead you anywhere. You're just going down a path, and that's why you're feeling the way that you feel of, well, maybe I'm not moving fast enough. Maybe I haven't hit this goal yet. Why haven't I hit this goal yet? And you're doing all the right things, but you're just going in the wrong direction. So I don't want you to think that you've been going around, because most people have been blaming themselves for the wrong thing. And depending on the situation, and you can determine if this is where things have potentially took the wrong turn. But most of the time, this is just how society has brought us up, right? I think I have a couple stats here. 40% of Gen Z say they feel stressed or anxious all or most of the time. 53% of young professionals experience burnout at least once a week. And only 39% of young professionals say college equipped them with the behavioral skills needed for the workplace. So, the 40% stat, let's just start there. I think that 40% stat is 100% societal, because we have been always going towards this high stress, high anxiety. I need to outperform the person before me, or I'm constantly in some type of competition with myself to always outperform. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be times where you have to go and give it the extra mile. Like right after this today, because I'm filming this on May 15th, I'm heading down. I don't work on Fridays, but I'm heading down and I have to go work an event after just working all week. And then I have to go down and travel. And it's been a wild 3 to 4 weeks. I have not had a break. But it's all about how you manage that, and the way that you're able to manage and cope with the stress or anxiety. And a lot of that can be just societal pressure. It makes you think that you need to be anxious or stressed. But I tend to focus on what's in front of me. I focus on the present, and I focus on what's in my control. If I need help, if things are overwhelming, I go and I tell the correct people. If I was feeling overwhelmed, I would go and tell my boss, "Hey, I think I need to tone it back a little bit." And it's not like a shame thing. I'm not going to be like scalded because I can't handle it. I can handle it. I just have too much. And when you have too much on your plate, what happens? You can only stack that plate up so high before things start to fall off the sides. And when things start to fall off, that's when we start losing quality. So you need to really figure out what you need to focus on. What are the big things? And then you can start to manage the stress and anxiety a little bit better, because you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Same thing with this burnout. I think that either comes with how busy your day is, and also how things are going outside of work that leads to burnout. Would I say that I'm burnt out right now? No. I'm in a very opportunistic time in my career. I'm sure I'll have an opportunity similar to this again, but to have this opportunity so early in my career, all it's going to do is propel me forward. And I think I'll definitely like a break. I would love to have a little vacation and come back re-energized. But if you're experiencing burnout, just take a day. Take a Friday off, and give yourself the day to just unwind. give yourself a little spa day, relax, and just take it easy. Um, Life is like you should be working to live, not live to work. And I know that is a hard statement in the world today because it feels like you have to take on 80 hours of work to survive, and you really need to figure out, where the next meal's coming from, and people are paycheck to paycheck. I understand. I'm in the same situation. But there are ways to process that. And I won't have the answers today, but all I'm going to do is make you think. So if you're experiencing the burnout, take a day off and just relax. Give yourself the time, a little me day, and don't put too much weight on the things that you can't control. And the 39% of young professionals that say college did not equip them, or only 39% said college equipped them with behavioral skills needed for the workplace. That makes sense because not all majors are going to focus on on behavioral skills in the workplace. They're simply just not going to focus on that. So the fact that is well below half makes a lot of sense. I don't even think I've learned office etiquette or anything like that. But it's definitely one of those things that we need to figure out. And I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think you just have to have respect for others, and that's really it. I like to just boil it down to that. You just treat people with the same respect that you think you deserve and go from there. So the patterns worth naming. And I'll talk about some of my own experience here, which, I've had this pattern of abandoning a new project right before it gets real. Maybe you've seen that already with this Kaizen project I'm doing. The pattern of seeking external validation before trusting an internal judgment. Man, that one hits home because I just experienced that this week. Pattern of reframing retreat as strategy. And man, let me just talk about abandoning a new project before it gets real. And then the pattern of reframing retreat as strategy, because as I think about this, I think I'm doing exactly that. So I have my Minecraft series. I've put out 23 episodes of that Minecraft series. And boy, am I feeling like I just need to drop it. Because this is my third episode of this podcast, and I'm finding that I talk better on this podcast setting because I'm just focusing on my notes and I'm focusing on you and not focused on building or trying to remember Minecraft recipes or anything like that. I feel like I yield a better discussion out of the podcast format than I do in the Minecraft format. And I'm looking at the analytics. The first episode of that podcast, really well, in comparison to everything else. The second episode, I know I posted it yesterday, but the second episode has no views on it. And I'm like, damn, that really sucks. And then I look at all the Minecraft episodes, 23 episodes, and at least 22 of them have views. Regardless if it's 1, 2, 3. Only one of them does not have a single view. And, I started this whole thing because I wanted to have Minecraft be the background of this whole thing because it's just an easy layup. I just like playing it. I think Minecraft is relaxing, and we're talking about self-improvement. We're building a world together, and we're building a community, and Minecraft represented all that. Now, the analytics are like, oh, well, maybe I should pursue this, and then the second episode doesn't do well. Now, I'm not abandoning, all this works towards the same thing. We're all working towards growing this community and growing the channel, which is that pattern reframing retreat as strategy, because the thing is, I'm not sure if I should continue the Minecraft series and just do this because I'm diverting my time. There's only so many things that I can talk about and reframe things, or maybe I just have it be I continue doing both, and some repeat topics go across because it could be targeting different audiences. I'm not sure which way I should go. Now, I consider Kaizen, this channel, as one project. I don't consider the Minecraft series or this podcast as two separate things. We're all working towards one goal. I just need to know where I need to direct my attention and my time. And the Minecraft series, I don't know if that is the right place for these discussions right now. I love the idea because it was my own idea, and I don't know. So maybe I'll leave that up to you guys if you want to tell me if you like the Minecraft series or not. But we'll see what happens. And that's just it, it's the exact thing that we're just talking about. But I'll move on from that and talk about something work related. Seeking external validation before trusting an internal judgment. Man, this one, I do this all the time. I'm a terrible test taker. I always doubted my internal instinct all the time. I think we sit there when you have a multiple choice question. You're like, is it A? Is it C? Is it both A and C? You know, one of those questions. And most of the time, our gut instinct is right. Like, I think I was reading Thinking Fast and Slow. I didn't finish the book yet, but most of the time, our gut instinct is pretty good. Like, there's oh my goodness, what is it called? You have, well, there's the fast reaction to things, which is, system one. System one is fast, right? That's the reactionary portion of your brain. System two is where you actually slow down to think about things. So mostly when we're test taking, or at least for me, I was in system one. I was reactionary to the question. I would read the question, and then immediately I would probably have the answer. And then system two would kick in, and I would be like, well, actually, is it that answer? And you would start to doubt yourself. This happened this week at work where I had written up an email, and I thought I needed to go bring in somebody else to review it. And typically, my relationship is I would float that up to my manager, but since I don't have my manager anymore and we're filling that position, I go straight up to my director. So I need to make sure that everything that I put out there is about 90% of the way there, or 100%. Like, it needs to be pretty much said and done, because I don't want to waste anybody's time. So I incorporated external validation. That external validation ended up changing the email around, and I wasn't offended by this. I really wanted that input, and I was also questioning whether or not this was something that I needed to do as well, because I don't want to overstep anything, and I don't want to do something for somebody else and take the credit for it. Ended up showing the edited doc that I had externally validated to my director, and there was a lot of feedback basically saying to go back and change the document around, change the tone of it. And I was like, you know what? I got to travel next week. I don't want to have to spend too much time on this. I just want to be able to send it off and have it squared away. So I said, do you want to see the version that I wrote? And he's like, yeah, sure. Put it up on the screen, and it turns out that was the better version. My initial instinct was right. I had it right the first time. I just didn't trust myself. And I need to be better about trusting myself. So I don't know if you see yourself in that, but that is a real-time example, a 2026 example within the last 48 hours of me seeking external validation before I just trust myself. And as I'm going through this, this is a huge learning opportunity for me, and I can talk about it in vagueness along the way. But man, the patterns keep showing up in the sense that I just need to trust myself. I lacked the confidence. I think I just talked about this in a short. The doubt shows up first. The doubt is loud. And when the doubt is loud, that's when you know you need to go and explore that path more. And the doubt was so loud at the beginning when it was the first week without my manager. Could I actually do this? Am I going to be all right? Am I going to be drowning in work? Am I going to be working overtime? Like, what am I going to be doing? How is my week going to look? Am I going to have a life for the next 1 to 2 months potentially? And it turns out I was more capable than I had thought, and I just needed to trust myself and in my skills to do those things. And I've been performing really well. I've been getting feedback. I've been performing well. And it's always nice to have that validation when you don't ask for it and it just shows up. It's always great to have that. So I'll move on. I don't want to. I have a couple other things I want to talk about. I don't want to spend too much time on certain things. Why awareness is not enough. So most self-help stops at awareness and wonders why nothing changes. Knowing the pattern exists is just the beginning. It's not the solution. What it takes is engineering enough repetition in the competing direction to lay down something new. The 2190 principle. This is a Kaizen principle at its core. 21 days to form a habit, 90 days to make it a permanent behavior. So we actually, in the Kaizen sprint, will do 28 days. So we give you those 21 days plus a week to form the habit. And this is 100% a true thing. I have been working out, for the last 5 years, and it's hard to get started. But once you get started, after that initial 1 to 2 months, 3 month phase, you actually start to figure out. Actually, it's 1 month. Once you start going for 1 month, then you really start to develop that habit, and you want to go. You make it a part of your daily routine. That's where that becomes, a whole thing. And then 90 days to make it a permanent behavior. I've been doing this stuff for 5 years, so I make sure I work out in some capacity every week. Same thing with like going on walks and stuff. Same thing with developing the reading habit. I continue to read more than I ever have in my 26 years on this earth. I was never a big reader, and then I picked up the Kaizen sprint and actually started reading. So if you're interested in the Kaizen sprint, definitely fill out the form in the description below, the interest form. It's just your name and email, first name, email. That's it. Just tells me that you're interested. But if you want to change, 2190 is the way to do it. And it goes by a lot quicker than you think. You're going to hit day 21 a lot faster. And that's the thing. It's really just about sticking to something I would even say 70 to 80% of the time. You don't have to be perfect every week. You don't have to be perfect every day. But as long as most of the days of the week or most of the time you are doing that thing, you will develop the habit. You don't have to be perfect in order for these things to stick. You just have to be making the conscious decision to do those things in order for it to actually become real. So the direction connection. Autopilot and direction are enemies. If your behavior is running on old patterns, your direction is set by a version of you that no longer exists. You cannot choose where you are going if you are not actually making the choices. So this is like you haven't had like a software update in like 10 years basically. That's what this is essentially saying. It's autopilot works in some situations. But autopilot also picks the most effective route, right? It's always going to pick the most streamlined route. I kind of look at this as like Apple Maps or Google Maps or Waze, right? When you're heading home from work, or when I'm heading home from work, I have probably like 3 different options. One of them I can take the highway, one of them I can take the interstate route, or the other one is just totally backwards and it's really long and you're going you're going away from home to get to home, so it doesn't make too much sense. So the option becomes, do I want to take the scenic route or do I want to take the fast route? What am I prioritizing? The difference might be 3-4 minutes. So nothing crazy. And when I take the highway, I'm always stressed. I hate taking the highway. I hate taking like I-95 and all that. It's terrible. I hate driving with semis on the road. I hate how fast people drive on it. I'm really on my I hate other drivers arc right now, because everybody just seems to be going everywhere fast, and you're not getting there any faster. So this I hope this episode doesn't run too long. But essentially, autopilot is going to take you the most efficient route. You're going to go the fastest way. It might be the most stressful way. It might be the way that gets you there faster, but it's going to suck. It's not going to be great. Or you take the route that is a little bit longer. Maybe you like that route more because it's scenic. It's a little bit more relaxing. But you still get to the destination. Doesn't really matter. And this whole thing of direction is that you're probably going down a road right now because of autopilot. And you might be working towards your goal. You might be getting there. It might get you there. But it's mentally taxing, and it's really difficult, and it makes you question everything every day when you wake up. So maybe you just got to change the direction, and the destination is still the same, but how you get there is going to be a little bit different. So I want to close this out with a question, as I always do, and then we'll do a call to action. Which pattern in your life have you been calling a personality trait when it is actually just something you have never seriously challenged? Which pattern in your life have you been calling a personality trait when it is actually just something you have never seriously challenged? Think about that for a second. So, man, I have to think about that too. I don't actually really know what I would consider a personality trait of mine. But, jot that down. And you can actually rope this in with identify one pattern this week. Don't try to fix it yet, but just observe this pattern. Write down when it shows up, what triggered it, and what it costs you. This is observation before intervention, and this is what actually the first move in a Kaizen framework. So you can take that closing question and pair it with this homework that I just gave you, and just identify a pattern and just observe it and see when it shows up, see how you feel, and what it costs. So I hope to hear from you guys. If you have any feedback, let me know about the Minecraft series. And I like this podcast format. I do. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow or whenever I'm able to get another episode out. But have a great day. Have a great weekend. And if you liked this, hit the subscribe. If you liked this video, hit the like button, share it with somebody, and join the Kaizen community. And as always, have a great weekend. Have a great day. I believe in you. And I'll catch you guys next time.